Hey everyone, welcome to the third class in Kavira's yoga series for farmers and ranchers. My name is Alexis Fonagofsky, and this is a series designed for people who work a lot with their bodies and need some relief through stretching, but also strength building around our core. If you haven't watched class 1 and 2, I highly recommend that you go back because we'll just build off each class, and so this one's going to go a little bit faster and I'm going to explain less than I did in the first class and the second class. Now, it's very important that you know a couple things. One is that not every body can do every exercise that we do, and that is totally normal. 100% okay. So if we do something and you're like, this hurts or it doesn't feel good, please don't do it. Just skip it and then join us when you're ready. The second thing is that the most important thing really is consistency. And so I don't expect you to do, an entire 60-minute class every day, but if you can pick one or two things that really work for you and just try to do it a couple times a week, that is going to go really far for you. So if you feel like your hips are tight or weak, pick one or two of the hip things we do and just see if you can do that during the day for 5 minutes. Another thing is that sometimes we get a little too in our heads about everything and we say like, well, I can or I can't do something, and we want to get rid of that kind of language. What we're doing really together is just moving our bodies and trying to strengthen parts of our bodies that will help us age well and age with the minimum amount of pain as possible. So when we're balancing and we're doing things and you're like, God, I can't balance, or oh my God, I'm not flexible, just kind of get rid of that mind frame. That's not where we want to start from. So thank you guys for joining me. I am an hour late today. I had technical difficulties at my house, but now I'm at my yoga studio, and so it's a little bit easier here and a little bit more quiet. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started on our backs in Shavasana. So this is starting differently than we normally do, so I just want you to lay down in a comfortable position. And if your lower back is tight at all, you're just going to bend your knees up here and keep your feet flat on the floor. But if you can straighten out your legs and that feels okay, then you can go ahead and do that. Just allow your toes to fall open, bring your arms by your side, maybe wiggle around your body a little bit and close your eyes. So you stay here, I'm going to sit back up and walk you through this. So you're on your backs with your toes open, your palms by your side, close your eyes, and I want you to just start to lengthen your inhales and lengthen your exhales. So on your inhales, remember we want to allow for expansion within our body, so we want to feel our belly get big and tight, pulling the air all the way down to the deepest part of our lungs. And then on your exhale, remember to breathe all of the air out of your lungs, creating more space for your next inhale. So you're inhaling and exhaling out your mouth. Just giving yourself permission to be here for the next 60 minutes in your body as best you can. And remember, if you feel like your mind begins to wander to the future or maybe the past or something that you have to do, all I ask is that you try to bring your awareness back to your inhales and exhales, and that will bring your attention back into your body. So just sitting here breathing deeply into your lungs, I just want you to notice how that might feel differently than the breath that you might have started with today at the very top of your lungs. And notice what breathing in all of that extra air is doing to your system. You might even feel dizzy because you're getting in so much oxygen. All right, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together, so you just stay on your backs. When you're ready, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your lungs all the way to the top. Open your mouth and exhale all Inhale through your nose, a deeper breath this time. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Okay, last one. Inhale through your nose. This is your deepest breath. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. All right, now just begin to breathe normally in and out through your nose. Remembering to pull the air all the way into the deepest part of your lungs. And remember, you're just doing the best you can with where you are at today. Okay, so I'm going to join you on our backs here. And all I want you to do is, if your knees aren't already bent, I just want you to bend your knees. And then bring your feet wider than your hips. So your feet aren't close together, they're actually wider than your hips. And so I want you to pretend your knees are like windshield wipers and just allow your knees to fall side to side. You might get a few pops in your lower back. And then you might stop. So if this feels good, you might just sort of stop and feel the twist. All right, now you're gonna bring your knees back to the center. You're gonna extend your left leg towards the front mirror, bring your right knee in. So just interlock your fingers around your right shin. Now this may be as far as you go, and that is 100% okay. We just want to feel compression in our hip. And now if you want to take it further, bring your knee out to the side, so on the outside of your rib cage, and then pull towards your armpit. So you might just bring your leg in a little bit closer. And then move your foot around in a big circle. And then change directions. Okay, you're going to take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, you're going to bring your left hand to your right knee, and then bring your leg across your body for a spinal twist. Okay, this might be a little tight for some people. So try to keep your shoulder down on the floor. And then slowly come back to your center. Extend your right leg to meet your left, and then bring your left knee in. Interlock your fingers around your shin. Pull your knee towards your chest. This might be enough for you, or bring your leg out to the side and then towards your armpit. Make sure you're breathing into your lower belly, and then move your left foot around in a big circle. And switch directions. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, your hand guides your knee across your body. All right, slowly come back to your center. Bring your left leg to meet your right, so we're just back in our starting position here. And then stretch your arms behind you, so get as long as you can. Point your toes, lift up through your front ribs so that your spine arches off the ground a little bit. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, slide your right leg off your mat, or off to the side. So it's just coming out to the side here. And then you're gonna cross your left ankle over your right. So now we're laterally flexing our spine to the side. Finding length through the side of your body, just shaped like a banana almost. And then come back to your center. Stretch it out one more time. And then let your left leg slide over to the left and cross your right ankle over your left. And then stretch your arm behind you. So we're finding length through this side of our body now. Really through the waist here, and where your hip bone meets your abdominal, your obliques. All right. right, come back to your center. And then very gently, because our spine has been sort of arched here, we're gonna bring our knees into our chest. So you might grab onto each knee, or you might wrap your arms around your legs, whatever works. Just try to relax your feet, and then exhale all the air out. All right, you guys, we're gonna start by just warming up our hip flexors and our abdominal wall very gently. So keeping your legs up here, I want you to just pretend like you're pedaling a bicycle. So you're gonna just bring your knees into your chest and then extend your legs. Your abdominal wall is stabilizing you. Your hip flexors, which most of the times our hip flexors are kind of weak, are bringing your knees into your chest, and then you're fully extending through your legs. It's not necessarily fun, but it's necessary. So just remember, when you're doing it, it actually doesn't last very long, but it's going to make a huge difference in your life. Okay, now if you feel pretty good here, you can begin to drop your legs towards the floor. This just takes a little bit more abdominal wall strength to keep your legs lifted. And then remember, we're pulling our knees in as tight as we can, and then full extension. All right. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Pull your knees in. Give your hip flexors a little bit of a break. All right, and slowly come out. We're gonna turn to our right side. Keep your right forearm on the floor. Now, we're gonna be on our side, but I don't want you to be on your hip bone. I want you to be on your butt cheek. So you're on the fleshy part of your butt. You're on your forearm, your shoulder girdle here, so all the muscles around your shoulder are super strong. Oftentimes what happens is people will dump into their shoulder. So they'll end up kind of like this and hunched up around the neck. We don't want to do that. So if you find yourself starting to hunch, you need to push away, and maybe you just limit what you're doing with your legs. So strong shoulder, forearm on the floor, on your butt cheek, and we'll start with our bottom leg just on the ground and bring your hand behind your head. So our top leg is straight. All I want you to do is bring your knee in to your elbow and then straighten your leg and open your elbow. So knee comes in, tap, open, straighten. So we're really trying to feel the crunch in our waist here. So we're opening and lengthening, and then we're pulling in and crunching. So again, what are we doing here? We're working our abdominal wall, we're working our hip flexors, we're focusing on our breath, and we have a strong shoulder. So again, if you're here, push away. Okay, those of you that feel like you want a little bit more, you're going to bring both legs in. So you're going to hover both legs, and then you're going to pull them in. If that's too much, you're just going to continue with the one leg that we started with. So in and straighten and open. My face is red because it's a hot yoga studio, and so the room is super warm from the last class. So my face is already super red. Okay, so we're really using our hip flexors here and our abdominal wall. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're gonna come to our butt, and we're gonna bring our forearms to the floor. We're going to hover our legs. We're going to pull them in and straighten. In and straighten. You're trying to keep your legs hugging together. Just for a little bit of transition to the other side. Okay, and release. Okay, now you're going to switch sides. I'm just going to turn the other way on my mat. So coming to your other arm, remember strong shoulder here. If you have any shoulder issues, be very careful with this one. And then on your butt cheek, so we're not on our, totally on our side, we're kind of tilted off here. So hand behind your head. We'll start with our bottom leg on the ground and just do the top knee in and then straighten and open. So you're exhaling your knee in and then inhaling once your leg gets back down and you open up nice and long. Okay, those of you that want more, you're going to do both legs. So you're going to hover your legs, pull them in, and then straighten. Those of you who feel like one leg is good enough, just continue to do one leg. So we're getting our full crunch in, and then lengthening and opening. Whew. And remember, you're moving with your breath and you're taking breaks when you need to. So at any point you need to take a break, it's totally fine. All right. Just a little bit longer, doing the best you can. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Come to your backs. Coming onto your forearms, chest lifted, hover your legs, bring your knees in, and straighten. The front of your belly really poofs up. So don't worry, we're not here to have flat stomachs, we're here to have strong bodies. About done. And release out. Okay, now we're going to come to tabletop position. I'm sweaty. Okay. So coming to a kneeling position, just going to do a little spinal movement. So the last couple classes, remember we started with our spinal movement. Now we're going to do that right now. So the front, back, side to side twist. So starting in a tabletop, take a deep breath in. On your exhale, round your spine up to the ceiling. And then inhale, drop your rib cage down, look up. And then exhale, round. Inhale, drop your rib cage, shoulders roll away from the face. Okay, this is at your own pace, so just move through some cat-cows. To your center. So what we're going to do here is you're going to, you probably don't have a block, that's okay. If you do have a block, you can use it. What we're going to do is we're going to stay in our tabletop and you're going to drop to one forearm and keep your other arm straight with a bent elbow. So we're going to look a little bit like this and we're going to extend, so that whatever arm is straight, you're going to extend that leg back. So from here, flex your foot, so toes towards your shin. Turn your toes out, and then bring your knee as close to your arm as you can get it. And then extend back. So knee comes forward and then extends back. Squeezing your glute on the way back. So as you squeeze back, I want you to squeeze your butt and kick through your heel, keeping your chest open to the side, pulling your knee in as close as you can. And keeping your knee as high as you can. Sometimes our knees are down here, that's okay. Remember, we don't grow our glute medius overnight. And our hip flexors too. Okay, we're going to meet with a straight leg behind you. So straight leg, foot flexed, and pulse up and down. So your glute should be tight, your leg should be straight, your foot should be flexed. I've been doing this a lot lately, so my muscles are pretty fatigued right now. Okay, and then we're going to stop pulsing, and then you're going to bring your knee back to your arm for the last part, okay? So kick back, don't give up on your glutes, nice and tight. For 3, 2, 1, and release out. All right. Come back to your table. Now we're going to come into a child's pose. So knees open wide. So your knees are going to be wide, your toes are touching. And then you're just going to allow your upper body to drop towards the floor. Here, you might not come all the way to the floor. So you might have a pillow, or you might have a pillow between your thighs and your calf muscles, so that if your hips don't move all the way back, you have some padding there for your legs. And just a couple deep breaths. Slowly come out of your child's pose. We're going to do the other side, so I'm going to turn around. So this time you're going to have your other arm on the ground. Let me see, I messed up. Yes, okay. So kick your other leg back wherever you were. Yeah, okay. Flex your foot. Squeeze your glute. And then we're going to try to, so the leg that's up and straight is going to be the same side as your straight arm. And then your other arm is going to be on the ground with your forearm. So bring your knee as close to your arm as you can, and then kick it straight back. You can actually do this standing if you have like the back of a couch you want to hold on to. If this is like not a good, if kneeling doesn't feel good to you, you can actually do it standing and just have your hands on a bar or the back of your couch. And then you can just do the same leg position. And then a lot of people forget about their feet. So I remind my in-person classes all the time, your foot engagement shows me that your leg is engaged. So if your foot is just sort of hanging, you're not really engaging your leg in the same way, which is why I want full foot engagement. So that means you're kicking through your heel and you're pulling your toes towards your shin. It's just hard to remember. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kick our leg straight back, and I just want you to pulse your leg up and down. Again, your foot is flexed. You're feeling this deep, deep in your glute. Your side glute and your glute maximus. Should be nice and tight. You should be able to poke it, and it should be hard. All right, everyone. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our knee back to our arm for the last part of this. So everything's a little bit fatigued. This should be harder. All right, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release out. Okay, child's pose again. So knees open up wide, hips back towards your heels, arms out in front, or you can bend your elbows and bring your hands behind your head. All right, slowly come up. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of class, this series of 6 will build off of each other, and so we're going to do a little bit more challenging one for hip mobility and strength right now. And if this one is too much for you, totally understandable. You're just going to maybe stay and watch or do the best that you can and go back to the first 2 classes and work on some of those hip exercises to get you ready for this one. So what we're going to do is you're going to bend your front leg and bring your other leg behind you. So I'm going to show you in different directions here, but you can sit on a pillow, so you can lift your hips up a little bit here. So your front leg will be bent maybe at a 90-degree angle, maybe not. So mine's at a 90 right now. You might bring your heel in closer to you for this to be comfortable. Okay, the same thing with your back leg. So my shin is lined up with my mat, the side of my mat here. Again, this may not be okay for just the way your hips are right now. So you might bring your heel in a little bit closer to your butt. So I'm in a 90-90 position. So I have a 90-degree angle between my front thigh and shin bone. Same with my back leg. But again, if this isn't working for you, you can sit on a pillow so you can lift your hips higher, or you can bring your heels in a little bit closer. Some of you, this may never be a position that you can sit in. Okay, so off to the side here. Okay, I'm bringing one hand out to the side and I'm letting myself lean over. My other hand is on my hip. So we're going to work on an internal rotation in our hip right here. So I just want you to lift, see if you can lift your left or your back heel off the ground. It's a lot, okay? So upper body will come forward just a little bit as you lift your heel up and down. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. You don't lift your foot very high. Most likely it's just coming off a couple inches. So just want you to work on this and breathe with me. You're probably like, is this yoga, Alexis? And my argument would be anything where you're paying attention to your breath is yoga. So what I've put together is a combination of physical therapy, yoga poses, Pilates, a little bit of Pure Barre, just different things that I've picked up over the years. Okay, and drop. Now we're going to do the opposite. Now we're externally rotating. So keep your foot on the floor and just open your knee up and then down. Okay, so most people are going to stay here. Just keeping your foot on the ground and lifting your knee up. Those of you that want to maybe push yourselves and get into your side glute a little bit more, you're going to see if you can just lift your leg up and down. So your foot comes off the ground too. And you might lean a little bit more over to the side. Okay, we're going to build off this one next class. So this is just the beginning. Lucky you guys. Okay, release down. Okay, put both hands behind you. Bring your knees up to the center, and then let your knees drop over to the other side. So now we're going to be in that same position, just our legs will be switched. So again, you can sit on a hard pillow to lift your hips up. You can also bring your heels in closer to your glutes. Okay. We will start with an internal rotation in our hip. So what we're going to do is your opposite hand will just be there so you can lean on it, and then we're going to lift our foot off the ground. So internally rotating in your hip, and trying to prevent your body from jerking forward. We're trying to keep generally that our body is lifted and generally stable. Remember, your foot doesn't come up very high. It's not supposed to. So we're looking for engagement in and around our pelvis. I'm shaking a little bit up here in my leg. So it's just such a tiny movement. It's hard for us to even figure out how to lift our foot up because it's such a little, just internal rotation right here. This is the good stuff, you guys. This is the fun stuff. Because we're learning how our bodies work. Okay, now we're going to do an external rotation. So keeping your foot on the floor, you're just going to lift your knee up and then drop. And remember, we're not trying to open like this, right? We're trying to keep our chest generally forward. Okay, and those of you that want a little bit more for your side glute, you're gonna just see if you can lift your entire shin off the ground. My right hip is stronger, so I can lift my leg a little bit higher. But just remember, you're trying to keep track of which side might be a little bit weaker or have less mobility or flexibility. Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Now bring your knees back to the center, and then the soles of your feet touching. Okay, we're gonna stretch our hips a little bit. Grabbing onto your feet. This might be enough for you, so it might be enough just to be sitting here, holding onto your feet, and maybe wiggle it out a little bit. I always think sometimes people are too like, I'm gonna hold this stretch and not move. So bringing some movement into your body while you're stretching is really important, just to help your nervous system relax a little bit. So if you want to walk your hands forward and then sway your upper body side to side. I always like this. Feels good on my lower back and my hips. Slowly come out. So I just want you to bring your right leg out to the side, bring your left foot to your inner right thigh. And then inhale your arms up. Exhale, twist and fold over your leg. So you should hold your stretches for at least 20 seconds at a time, if you can. And if you want to actually increase the length of your muscle, so increase your flexibility, you need to do that same stretch at least 5 minutes a week. But it doesn't have to be all at one time. It could just be 20 seconds a day. But the total needs to be 5 minutes. So just remember when you're stretching, 5 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, but just remembering to stretch and then remembering to hold it for 20 seconds is actually quite a bit of work. So if you feel like it's your hamstrings that are super tight or whatever it is, just pick one of these stretches and see if you can do it for maybe 5 minutes a week. Okay, slowly come out. Other leg, switch it out. Flex your foot, inhale your arms up, twist, and fold. Another thing to remember here is that flexibility isn't just tied to the length of your muscles. It's also tied to nervous system signals, basically. So if you've been injured before, or mostly injuries, your nervous system will be overprotective of you. So if you're finding yourself in a stretch and you're just like, God, I just can't go past a certain point, it could be that your nervous system is just overprotective and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let you go past this point because this is as far as I trust you. To work on that aspect of flexibility, you really have to learn to relax your nervous system when you're in a stretch. And to do that, you have to use your exhale. So your inhale sort of wakes you up. Your exhale relaxes your nervous system. So when you're exhaling, just, talk to yourself. Be like, it's okay, everything's safe. I can go a little bit further. Slowly come out. Okay, we're going to stand up and do a balancing series with that I call an integrated core exercise that sort of puts our glutes, hip flexors, abdominal wall back together to help us balance. And so the way my camera's set up today, you probably won't see my face, but you don't need to. You just need to see the lower body. So get in a comfortable standing position, and we'll do some forward folds and some lengthening just to get us ready for this. Okay, so we're coming into a standing position. You can separate your feet maybe about 6 inches or wider here. Arms by your side, your palms face forward, and then just inhale both arms up overhead, and then exhale, forward fold with the flat back. all the way. So if your hamstrings and lower back won't go for a full forward fold, you can just stay in a halfway lift. So just hands to your shins, lengthen through your back, and stay right here. If you want to come all the way down, please feel free. Make sure your knees are soft. Relax your arms, relax the back of your head. And then you have an option to grab onto opposite elbows and sway your upper body side to side. All right, coming back to your center. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Maybe a slight backward bend. And then exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Optional back bend. And exhale, forward fold. All right, one more time. Inhale up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Optional back bend. And hands to your heart. Okay, so we're going to come into a chair pose. So you can bring your feet together, or you can have them directly under your hips. Whatever is most comfortable for you. We're going to drop our hips down and back. Bring your hands to your heart, or hands to your hips, wherever works. We're going to shift our weight into our right leg and just lift your left heel up. So basically what this is going to look like is you're going to be on your tiptoes on one side. Your other foot's going to be flat on the floor. Okay, so now more of our weight is on our foot that's flat on the ground, and we want to start to really engage the one leg stability here. So as you start to get a little bit tired, you're going to fall out, or you're going to wobble, and that's okay, that's the point. So with your leg that has your heel up, I want you to bring your knee to your chest. And whoa, I'm going to fall over right away. Knee to your chest. And so we're still with a bent standing leg. Okay, from here, I want you to keep your knee as high as you have it, and see if you can just straighten your leg. It might not straighten, that is okay. Doing the best you can. So the front of your quads are really tight here, hip flexors are working. Okay, point your front toes, and then sweep your leg out to the side. Hold. Now your side glute is engaged here. Now bring your legs straight behind you, keep your chest lifted. And super carefully, I want you to just float your toes to the floor. I'm going to scoot up a little bit. Whoops. Okay. So you're in a high lunge position. I want your upper body to be shifted forward so that more of your weight is in your front leg, and your back leg is there just helping you with stabilization and balance. Try to have your back leg as straight as possible and your butt engaged. Okay, so from here, you can stay here, or you can begin to bend your back knee down towards the floor. And then shift your weight forward, straighten your back leg. That's your movement here. So you're bending your back knee, upper body comes back, and then weight comes forward, back leg straightens. Your front leg will be on fire, by the end of this if it's not already. Okay, back leg straightens. My right glute is burning right now. Now you're going to shift your weight forward to your front leg and see if you can lift your back leg off the ground. So, back leg lifts, front leg is bent. Bring your knees together. Left foot meets your right. Chair pose. And release out. Okay, that was a lot. Shake it out. My heart rate's up. Okay, we're gonna do the other side. So we'll come into our chair pose. So opposite leg, so whichever glute is on fire, that is gonna be the one where you lift your heel. So you will start in a chair pose with your other heel lifted. Hands can be wherever they're comfortable, hips or heart. Okay, now we're going to shift all our weight to the foot that is flat on the floor. And you're just going to bring your knee close to your chest here. Standing leg stays bent. Okay, try and keep your knee this high. You're going to straighten your leg as much as you can. Point your toes. Beautiful job. Sweep your leg up to the side. Hold. Okay, now your side glute's really on fire because it's tired from the other exercise. Point your toes. So again, we want a fully engaged foot here. And then sweep your leg straight behind you. Hold. Okay, very carefully float your back foot down. We're coming into a high lunge, so you might need to widen your step a bit. Keeping our weight shifted forward, so we're really trying to force our front leg to do a lot of work. Back leg is straight, heel is lifted. Okay, you can stay right here or bend your knee towards the floor. And then when you come up, you're shifting your weight forward again, hinging your upper body forward. So as you bend your knee, your upper body comes back. And as you straighten your leg, your upper body shifts forward. You can put your hands on your knee, your front knee, if you'd like. Whew, this is a lot, you guys. Just doing what you can today. Okay. Okay, that's good enough, I think. So we're going to shift our weight forward to our front leg and see if we can lift our back up. Whew, okay, that was a lot. Okay, bring your knees to meet, one-legged chair, and then feet meet, chair pose for 3, 2, 1, and stand up. Nice job. Okay, come to the floor. I'm going to say a couple words, so just bring the soles of your feet together and give yourself a stretch here while I'm talking. Whew, my heart rate's up. So I'm going to say a couple things about single leg stability. we have to practice our balance, because as we age, we lose our sort of natural ability to balance, and we have to really work at keeping those neural pathways strong, and also our muscles strong to help us. So when we do that sequence, the goal is that we are pushing our single leg, so the front leg, to work harder. And it's a lot. And sometimes you fall over, you can't do it, something feels like it's gonna cramp. Over time, as you really work on that exercise and work on making your standing leg have to support you, your balance is gonna get so much better. And just remember that if you are falling out and you're really wobbly, that's what the point of what we're doing is, to like help our bodies learn new ways of balancing, and that we push them far enough that we're actually growing in that ability. So that sequence is really good. It only took us maybe 5 minutes to do both sides. So if you did that sequence once a day, you would be amazed at how your balancing gets better over time. So. All right. Okay, slowly come out of the stretch. And so for the last strengthening and mobility exercise we're gonna do, it's gonna be another hip one, and hip flexors and pelvis. And so some of you might be like, you know what, I'm good for the day, but I'm just gonna watch and see how this goes and do it later. And I think you'll be really happy with this one. It's one we can do on the floor. So we're just gonna come to one side, bring our head into our hand, our bottom leg is bent. So your knee is out in front of you. So it's not like underneath your leg, your top leg, it's actually in front of you. Your top leg is straight, straight out from your hip. Your foot is flexed. So here's the motion. We bend our knee in front of us. Our knee's even with our hip joint. We're not bringing it up to our face. So we're coming to be about even with our hip. Your foot is flexed. And then from here, you're going to straighten your leg as much as you can. You might not be able to straighten it. That's okay. Just do the best you can. And then we sweep it back to its starting position. So you bend your knee, straighten your leg, sweep it back. You're like, wow, that is a really simple movement, right? It is, but over time, it really builds in your muscles. So we're working on hip flexors. We're working on our hip mobility. We're working on our side glute. Giving a massage for our hip joint. Getting everything moving around. And we're trying not to rock around in our pelvis here. We just want to keep our pelvis really stable. Okay, so for those of you that want to add a bit more, next time your leg's out in front of you, you add a pulse up and down. Then you sweep back, you add a pulse up and down. So you bend your knee, straighten your leg, pulse up, down, sweep it back, up, down. Bend your knee, straighten your leg, up, down, sweep it back, up, down. This is also when we'll build off next week. So this is just getting us into a nice rhythm, a nice motion. Remember, our feet need to be flexed to make sure that our leg is engaged in the way that we need it to be. My side glute is already burning, so hopefully yours is too. Okay, we're going to add to that if you want a little bit more, just for the last bit here. So next time your knee bends towards your chest, you pulse up, down, then you straighten, pulse up, down, back to start, pulse up, down. So knee bends, up, down, straighten, up, down, back to center, up, down. Last part. Ooh. Okay, guys, I think that's it on that side. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little break here. We're gonna switch sides. So today we did a lot of hips. A lot. Okay, so again, your bottom leg is bent out in front of you. Top leg is straight, foot is flexed. Okay, bend your knee towards your chest. So the knee is directly out from your hip. Foot is flexed. Straighten your leg. Sweep it back. So your glute maximus takes over. And then bend your knee. Straighten your leg. Sweep it back. Bend your knee. Straighten your leg. Sweep it back. And remember, we stop when our knee's even with our hip. We don't go past that point. All right, you guys, so if you want to add to this, bend your knee, straighten your leg, pulse up, down, back to center, up, down. Bend your knee, straighten your leg, up, down. Back to start, up, down. If you're just starting it, if you've never done this before, you might only get through like 3 rounds. So just want you to be really aware that most of the time, just sort of because of the, I don't know, there's just not a lot of exercises that build our side glute. And so our side glute is often kind of weak. And so when you start doing these, it's like, oh my God. Like, oh, that's a muscle there. And it's burning, you know. Just takes us a bit to get it to the point where it needs to be. Okay, so we add in a knee pulse. If your knee's bent, you can lift it up, down, straighten, up, down, sweep back, up, down. Bend your knee, up, down, straighten, up, down, sweep back, up, down. And I know you guys have all been through harder things than this. And remember, this is just like 5 minutes of our life. But it's an important 5 minutes. Okay, see if you can get one more in here. Okay, and release. All right, come to your backs. And then I just want you to bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open up wide. This can be really tight for some people, so if you have pillows you want to put underneath your legs to help you prop up your legs, that feels really good. Maybe wiggle your hips a little bit, and then bring your knees into your chest. Again, you can grab onto each of your knees, or you can wrap your arms around your legs. And those of you that want to take this a little bit further for your hips, you can go into happy baby, so you grab onto the outsides of your feet, and then maybe you rock around. release your feet to the floor. And then I want you to sway your knees side to side again like windshield wipers. Maybe find a little bit more space within your spine and your hips. All right, come back to your center. Extend your legs towards the back of your mat, or maybe you're not on a mat, that's okay. Wherever you're at, just like lengthen your legs. And again, if your lower back hurts, just bend your knees so that your feet are on the floor. And then just bring your arms by your side, close your eyes. Just take a deep breath. I'm going to sit up, but you stay in Shavasana if you're there. Just want you to notice how this breath might feel a little bit easier and deeper than the one you started with. Remember that you're bringing air all the way into the deepest parts of your lungs, not just your top of your lungs here. Your hips did a lot of work today, so your hip flexors, your side glutes, your glute maximus, we did a lot there. So tomorrow you might feel it, and remember that that's not tightness that you're feeling, it's building strength. So try to do some of those hip exercises just a couple times a week. I highly recommend the one we just did on our side. If you could just do that 2 or 3 times a week for 5 minutes, you would notice a huge difference in your hips. And let me know if you start doing these exercises and you notice a difference in your body. I would love to hear about it. So thank you guys so much for practicing with me this Sunday. Sorry it was an hour late. Hopefully many of you are catching us on replay. For the next 3 classes, I will be at 10 a.m. on Sunday, barring any technical difficulties. So I hope to see you there, and thank you so much for your time.